Hello, welcome to lesson 2 of our step 3, paying off debt. Today's topic we're going to be talking about cracking the credit card, all part of our winning with money process. My name's Jack Warner. Let's get into this. So cracking the credit card, there's a lot of misconceptions about using a credit card, not using credit cards. I'm hoping that in this lesson I can cover the pros and cons of getting involved with credit cards. Credit cards are basically personal loans. We often forget this. Such a simple statement that we often forget. It's so easy for us just to swipe it and move on and kind of forget about it until that credit card bill comes into the mail or comes into our inbox or via a bank app notification. They're personal loans. So we need to make sure we understand this. Every time you swipe, you are taking some money out of someone else's account that they are lending to you and that you are using to purchase goods and services. I put this in here. It's a little motto: avoid them, destroy them, and cancel them. Because if you have impulse buying behavior characteristics, then you need to make sure you stay away from credit cards. If you don't have impulse buying, but you just kind of gotten lost in the whole world of credit and loans and debt, and you have a ton of credit cards and you just don't know how to get out, but you're okay with your spending habits, then maybe you should consider avoiding them, destroying them, and canceling them until you can get your finances back on track. That being said, I am not totally against credit cards, but I am if you can't responsibly spend. The reason is because plenty of studies out there that show that we spend more with credit cards than through any other means. When we have cash in hand, which I know it's not realistic to carry around hundreds of dollars worth of cash to make exchange of goods and services, but when we spend on credit cards, it's different than when we spend with cash. When we lose cash, it's harder for us because it's tactile. We can feel us losing that money. When we swipe a credit card, much easier. Don't have to worry about it. Out of sight, out of mind. So paying cash usually doubles the pain of payment when we make a purchase. We focus on the benefits of the item bought on credit, not really the costs. Credit card companies, they knew what they were doing when they first installed the credit card, and still do. For example, as part of my research, anybody can have access to this. This is on the U.S. National Debt Clock. And this was as real time. I screenshotted this. This was as of June 13th, around 10:30 Eastern time. It's obviously changed a lot, but check out the personal debt and student loan down here. First of all, I circled the credit card right here. I circled the credit card debt. It is at $1.1 trillion of credit card debt. That's about 7,000, it's probably about 7,000 today. 7,000 per household, or per card holder, sorry, not per household. Then we can take a look at other personal debts. Americans, we find ourselves in $23 trillion worth of personal debt. That number keeps climbing as well. And you would see the student loan debt at 1.7 trillion. It was for a while that credit card debt outweighed student loan debt. It's actually fairly recent in the maybe last 5 years, I think. Student loan debt outpaced or beat credit card debt. Credit card debt used to be higher. But interesting, very interesting numbers, scary numbers, but something that we need to be aware of as to why we are studying finance, why we need to get our finances on track and get on a budget. Credit card fees and interest rates. We talked a little bit about this in lesson 1. A credit card usually carries the highest amount of interest rates. It's probably one of the highest. In fact, I can't think of any other loan or line of credit you can take out that has a higher interest rate than, say, the 26, 28% that some credit cards carry. Credit card companies, they want us to pay the minimum. Why? Because they make more money if they can extend the line of credit, and we keep paying fees and paying the higher interest over and over and over again for months, years and years, and so on and so forth. Many credit cards have annual fees. They'll mix in all these types of fees to drum up more revenue for their credit card company. Annual fees, later missed payment, maybe startup fees, cash advance fees, cash balance fees. There's all types of fees that you need to access a credit card. Now, not all credit cards have these fees. So that's what we also need to be aware of that. Not all credit cards have these fees, but we need to make sure we read the fine print when we decide to sign up for a credit card. Credit card companies also target us when we're young. If you have kids, they might start targeting your kids. When I was in college at 18, I saw credit card companies that were allowed access to college students trying to sell them credit cards, or they'll send email blasts sponsored through the college. It's amazing that that was allowed, but it makes sense too because they're a business. They can advertise to whoever they want. But just be aware of that. They do target us when we're young. They like to get people in credit when they are their brains aren't fully developed. There are some advantages. I've talked enough about some disadvantages and some downsides to credit cards, but there are some advantages of credit cards. But before I continue, we need to be aware of something. I put my warning on there, my disclaimer. These advantages are only suitable for financially disciplined individuals. This isn't for people who already have several credit cards or lines of credit or loans or in deep amount of debt, or you know you're an impulse buyer and you know that if you had a credit card or even several credit card accounts open that you would go crazy with your spending. This is not for you. These are for people who have had credit cards for several years and have never missed a payment and only spend on things that they have budgeted for. So there are advantages of credit cards for sure. I only own one and it's been great. I get cash back points. It's awesome. Some people they can leverage credit cards better than I can. You can get mileage points. I do not have this, but if I started traveling more, I might consider it. Mileage points. I know Delta has a great credit card mileage point system. I'm not sponsored by them at all, but I've seen some people make YouTube videos. I've done some research on it, and they offer great mileage points for their credit cards. Cash back options, of course, you get the 1, 2, 3, 5% cash back depending on what you're spending money on. Credit card alliance benefits. So if you had a credit card for a certain company, they might have alliance benefits for other companies as part of their benefit package to use their credit card. And also the simple fact that using a credit, starting at a very small limit, like just a couple $100s, you can learn responsible credit building. There was a study done. I mentioned all this good stuff. There was a study done a few years ago. In fact, it might be every other year or so that I can't remember who did it, what agency. There might have been several independent agencies, but they showed, and this is what I'm going to tell you about the disadvantages of a credit card. They showed a significant amount of people did not actually cash in their cashback options, their mileage points, or whatever other benefit there might have been. They did not use their rewards. So it was kind of a, yeah, it's awesome. And people argue, oh, but you can get so many advantages of credit cards, but it does not actually work that way. It was a vast majority of credit card users did not use the extent of their rewards program that was part of their account. There's a great book that studies this too. In the book, it's called The Millionaire Next Door. They studied thousands of millionaires back in the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s, and they asked them multiple questions, but one of the questions was, what were some of the top 10, 20 reasons why you became wealthy, or how you became wealthy, I should say. And not one of them said they got wealthy using credit card benefits. So think about that when we decide to. In fact, many of them said they avoided credit cards. So stick to the simple stuff. We want to stick to gas and groceries, maybe going out to eat every now and then. Build a credit score. You can earn favorable loan terms for a house mortgage. So this is where I'm talking about learning responsible credit. If you start young and low balance and you only spend on things like gas and groceries, you can build a solid credit score. So when you decide to get your first home, you'll have a decent term. You do not have to go into debt. Sizable down payments and high income level or net worth can also assist in a favorable mortgage though. So I say that you can buy a house without the credit score because of if you have a sizable down payment, your high income level, or you are a first time home buyer. You may get favorable terms anyway. So biggest thing with credit cards, when choosing a credit card, consider APR, consider annual fees, their cash advances, their balance transfers. Look for terms and fees that are suitable for you. Try to avoid fees altogether if you can. Shop the best benefits that fits your lifestyle. If you travel a lot, consider get a mileage benefit, airline specific mileage card. Or if you If you use a lot of gas, if you travel a lot on ground, consider a gas credit card. If you shop at a particular store frequently, maybe you get their credit card and you start building up points towards benefits that they offer. Analyze promotions and introductory periods in depth. This is where they usually get us. A general rule is to not accept introductory promotional offers from independent promotional cards like they send you in the mail. Is generally just avoid those, just burn them. Great fire starter. Promotions are nice for a time, but often they have very unfavorable terms after the introductory period. When using it, so that's choosing a credit card. When using a credit card, we need to be aware of our budget. So we do not want to use the credit card outside of the limits of what we place in our budget. So whatever we're using our budget, we spend on a credit card. Easy as that. Try to keep it simple. Pay off the entire balance every month. Don't pay the minimum. Pay the entire balance off every month. So if you're only spending on gas and groceries, maybe one or two going out to eat or whatever it is, make sure you're paying the entire balance. You should be, because you already have a budget. These 2 points go hand in hand. And do not use credit for anything outside of the budgeted items. It's kind of repeating myself for 3 points here because that's that important. Make sure when you're using your credit card, it stays within your budget. You're paying the entire balance, paying the max amount. If not, you can pay more, if that'd be awesome. Don't pay the minimum. Avoid missing payments. Focus on paying the credit cards off first because they are the most dangerous of all loans, of all consumer debt. All right, that's the end of this video. Next video, we will be discussing credit scores and how they can help us manage our debt. See you then.